The news tonight. President Buhari seeks Senate approval of Data Protection Bill. APC chieftain says President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu promised to appoint only talented people into its cabinet. And on the foreign scene, Kenya plans to launch first operational satellites. Good evening and thanks for joining us on Major Report this evening. My name is David Ojo. President Muhammadu Buhari has urged the Senate to consider and approve the Nigerian Data Protection Bill sent to it by the executive. The president's request is contained in a letter addressed to the Senate President Alhaji Ahmed Lawan and read at plenary. The bill seeks to provide a legal framework for the protection of personal information and the establishment of the Nigerian Data Protection Commission for regulation of law and personal information. In another development, the President also transmitted a bill for the establishment of Nigerian Police Force College Training School and institution for the consideration and approval by the Senate. According to Buhari, the school seeks to provide a comprehensive and legal institutional framework to provide specialized training for police officers. The Senate has adopted the report of the conference committee which was set up by the two chambers of the National Assembly to analyze the bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Peace Corps. The conference committee, which was set up earlier in the year by both the Senate and House of Representatives, completed its assignment leading to the report presentation in both chambers and subsequent adoption of same by the House of Representatives. The harmonized report shows that the conference committee adopted the version of the bill as earlier passed by the House of Representatives. The conference report, however, clarifies that for a bill to become an act of parliament in Nigeria, it must pass through the two chambers of the National Assembly, a criteria which the National Unity and Peace Corps bill could not attain. It will be recalled that the Nigerian Peace Corps Establishment Bill passed in 2022 by the two chambers was sponsored by the Chairman Senate Committee and the Nigerian Army Senator Ali Ndume, while that of the House of Representatives was sponsored by the Chief Whip Right Honorable Mohammed Mungono. A former presidential aspirant of the All Progressives Congress APC, Nicholas Felix, has disclosed that the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will appoint only talented people into his cabinet after taking the oath of office on May 29. Felix, who spoke with journalists, noted that Tinubu's appointment will be based on competency and not party affiliations. He noted that every Nigerian matters regardless of their political party, adding that Tinubu had said it will build a government of national unity. He urged Nigerians to join hands with Tinubu to make Nigeria work again. As the race for the leadership of the National Assembly intensifies, the need to ensure that all regions of the country are adequately represented has been emphasized. These were the views of some Nigerians who spoke in separate interviews with Osbc News against the backdrop of the intense lobby by some lawmakers who are high in the leadership position in the 10th Assembly. Our reporter, Oluchi Amuda, completes the story.
Race for the leadership positions of the 10th National Assembly is expected to be inaugurated on the 13th of June this year is already gathering momentum as campaigns for key presiding officers' positions have intensified. Some lawmakers-elect from different parts of the country are laying claims to the various positions, such as the President of the Senate, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Deputy Senate President, and Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. While speaking in an interview with Osbc News on the Zone, where the leaders of the 10th National Assembly would emerge from, a politician, Eldabi Adilowo, stated that it is absolutely important to allow the federal character principle to play out in this regard in order to ensure justice, equity, balance and fairness so that no region would be left marginalized in a pluralized nation.
The president-elect from the southwest, while the vice president-elect from the northwest. So we have 4 remaining geopolitical zones. So the other 4 zones now we follow zoo. As if that is how it should be. So the Senate president now and speakers are coming from the southwest, south or southeast, while the north central and northeast too, we take either speaker or deputy speaker of rep. Then after that, we now consider the competence, experience. In the House of Rep, the president issue now, we know people that have been there for 2-3 times, the experience as the parliament members, they are at the same time applicable to the House of Rep. So, but the balancing the federal character first to ensure that all the 6 geopolitical zones are represented accordingly in number 1 to 6. Then we can now start talking of the competence, experience, and other things.
Speaking in the same vein, a former member of Osun State House of Assembly, Honorable Johnson Ojo, noted that Nigeria is a multi-ethnic and religious entity, and such is expected to play out in the constitution of the leadership of the 10th National Assembly.
There are so many factors that will come to play the leadership of the National Assembly. Wow. Because of the situation of the country, I know that religion will take a very good position there. You will recall that the president-elect and the vice are both Muslims. And because of that, I think they will consider the religion. Then the geographical location too will be considered. And some other factors, even political factors, godfatherism. You can't erase that in politics.
Report says so far, a total of 7 political parties won senatorial seats, with the ruling All Progressives Congress APC topping the chart with 57 seats. The People's Democratic Party won 29 seats, Labour Party won 7, New Nigerian People's Party NNPP won 2, Social Democratic Party SDP has 2, while the All Progressives Grand Alliance ABGA and the Young People's Party YPP won 1 seat each. Oluchi Amuda, Osbc News.
Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke has been described as a swift achiever who touches the lives of the citizenry within the short period of his accession into the seat of leadership in the state. The state chairman of the trade union, Comrade Adekola Adebowale, who gave the description shortly after featuring on OSBC TV current affairs program Newsmaker, said the governor has started paying the backlog of salaries affecting the promotion of workers and making working environment conducive.
He's fulfilling his electoral promises, so we are appreciating him. He inherited the backlog of arrears, but today it has paid part of it from the record. We continue to pay it. But today, thank God, we have a very refreshing time with Mr. Governor.
Comrade Adebowale, who urged the governor to bring back the long-term workers' incentive, admonished the workers to redouble their effort. He speaks further.
Certainly to do more. In the area of workers' welfare, the workers need training. We need a very conducive environment. We need to be mobile. When we have a good environment, we generate enough money for the development of the state.
The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has approved 173 digital lending applications to operate in the country. Of the 173, 119 have full approval and 54 have conditional approvals. After loan apps started harassing Nigerians, the FCCPC began a registration drive to protect citizens from the atrocity of the apps. A release says a limited interim regulatory registration framework and guidelines for digital lending 2022 regulates the digital lending space and make registration and approval a prerequisite for companies seeking to operate in the space. It added that after shifting its deadline multiple times, it finally adopted March 27 this year as a close of registration. Commenting on its effort against digital lending hubs in August 2022, The FCCPC said, in addition to the enforcement actions and the furtherance of the desire to promote fair, transparent, and mutually beneficial alternative lending opportunities apart from traditional lending to consumers, the Interagency Joint Regulatory and Enforcement Task Force has developed a mutually adopted limited interim regulatory registration framework and guidelines for digital lending. It also stated that the guidelines also mandate different service providers in the relevant ecosystem, such as banks, access, download platform, or stores technology providers, and payment system to require regulatory approval before providing services. The revelation that Nigerian imports 300 billion naira worth of palm oil in 6 years have continued to generate reactions among experts in the agriculture industry, who describe the situation as a slap on the country, which was once reputed to be one of the highest producers of palm oil in the 60s and early 70s. While reacting to these, an agricultural engineer from the Osun State University, Dr. Lamidi Agumbiade, called on government at all levels to buckle up and save the agricultural sector from total collapse. Oluwatobiloba completes the story.
For several years, Nigeria is known to be the golden days of colonial West Africa. It is accounted for over 40% of the global output of palm oil. Today, the reverse is the case as Nigeria spent 300 billion naira to import palm oil in 6 years. Some adduce the reasons for the downturn of the palm oil produce to the Nigeria economic failure. Speaking on this development, an agricultural engineer, Dr. Lamid Agumbiade, said the issue facing the palm oil production in Nigeria is enormous, revealing them out to be lack of capital, non-availability of land, and high cost of production of palm oil, among others. He urged the federal government, non-governmental organizations, and other stakeholders in the agricultural sector to invest more on farmers, saying some farmers are ready to work on farm produce, but there are not enough funds and other essential materials for palm oil production like palm kernel and fertilizers, among others.
The problem is because we are not doing farming enough. That's the real problem, because we have enormous land, but you cannot easily go to any land and acquire it to say you want to do some farming. So that means you need permission from the people that own the land, or maybe from government. So if we have enough land, people will be able to invest more. There are people that want to invest in this like a oil palm plantation. We have many of them. But to acquire land, because of land tenure system problem that we have, that is one major problem. Then we have a problem input, the seed. How to acquire the rightful seed.
When asked why Nigerians are not embracing the new technological innovations of farmer production, Mr. Agumbiade said there are farmers who use the new technological innovations for the processing of palm oil production in order to aid large scale of production of palm oil.
Researches that are going on oil palm, and they are developing, they are even constructing, not designing only, not designing or developing only, they are even constructing a oil palm mill that will start from boiling the palm bunch to digest it, purifying it till the oil will come out.
He stated further that for Nigeria to address this situation, in order to come back to its prime place of economic opportunities, the government needs to intensify its efforts in educating and retraining farmers, entrepreneurs, agriculturists, and extension workers on modern agricultural technologies in order to update the knowledge of the industry. Oluwatobiloba Odunuga, Osbc News.
We now go on a commercial break.
Day, life presents hopes, dreams, and challenges. Challenges that can become successes with a little help. Because a little help can empower you to go from despair to celebration. A little help can keep you going. until the race is won. A little help can turn bundles of anxiety into a bundle of joy. And with Glow Data, you get much more than just a little help. You get the biggest data deals in town to make every day glow with small wins and big wins. Dial *777# to select your Glow Data plan.
You're welcome back. The Vice Chairman, Nigerian Communication Commission, NCC, Professor Umar Dembata, has said for Nigerians to win the fight against insecurity, external aggression, and other threats to national peace, it must ensure a high level of electronic combat readiness. Speaking when Officer Cadet of the Nigerian Defense Academy visited NCC headquarters in Abuja as part of their industrial training, Dembata noted that communications is strategic to electronic combat readiness. According to him, modern warfare is not won by physical combat anymore, but in the command and control center where electronic combat readiness strategy is implemented by locating where the enemy is given instruction to the Air Force to contain the threat posed by the enemy. Dembata observed cyber attacks as a trending threat and appealed to military to assist the country to contain the threat posed by cyber criminals. He stated that NCC will continue to engage and collaborate with different institutions of government to improve the quality of service being provided by the mobile network operators and ensure optimal utilization of resources and attract investment into the sector. Nigerians are being admonished to keep faith high, hopeful, and believe that the situation of the nation can turn around for good as Christians enter the Holy Week, which will eventually culminate into the commemoration of the death of Jesus Christ on Good Friday and his resurrection on Easter Sunday. A cleric, Reverend Father Peter Adeyemi, who gave the admonition while speaking with Osbc News, noted that Christians worldwide should strengthen their hopes and belief in God.
We thank God for this holy season we are in, which is known as Holy Week. It is called Holy Week because it is the week that signifies the last week Christ spent on earth before he was crucified. And during the week, Palm Sunday to Easter Sunday, we have a lot of activities lined up as Christians that we use to mark that particular week. This include Good Friday, Holy Thursday, Easter Vigil, leading to Easter Sunday itself. So it is called Holy Week because of the activities lined up for the particular week. The lesson for us is that hope does not die. We must never be hopeless. Our God is a God who can raise the dead from the grave. If Christ rose from the dead, certainly there is nothing impossible for God to do. So as individual persons, we must have that hope, we must have that faith in God, that God can do all, and there is nothing impossible for him to do for us.
The controversial singer Habib Okikiola, popularly known as Portable, has lamented that he has learned some lessons and ready to be a good citizen of the country. Sarah Omidele of our entertainment desk completes the story.
The street sensation Habib Okikiola, popularly known as Portable, has reacted following his release from prison, saying he has learned some lessons and ready to act as a good citizen of Nigeria. Report says the controversial singer was detained at the Ilaro prison in Ogun State after being granted bail. The state police command had brought Portable before the court on a 5-count charge bordering on assault and stealing. The magistrate's court sitting in the Ifo local government area of Ogun State granted him bail but remanded him pending the perfection of the bail conditions. Magistrate Shoneye said the offences are bailable and granted him bail with a bond of 300,000 naira two shorties who must reside within the jurisdiction of the Oronibo court. Hours after his detention in prison, Portable was released, having met his bail conditions. In another development, Rivers State-based comedian cum skit maker John Kennedy Kanu, popularly known as Bros JK, is dead. According to reports, the tragic incident occurred at Rumu Odara East-West Road in the Port Harcourt area of the state, with the vehicle damaged. It was gathered that JK's death comes barely a day after he celebrated a milestone of 2 million followers on his Facebook page. Social media had been thrown into mourning by fans and well-wishers as they took their time to express sadness over the demise of the comedian. Sarah Omidele, Osbc News.
You're welcome to our sports section. Manchester United has announced that Luke Shaw will remain at the club for another 4 years. Shaw is a key member of manager Eric Ten Hag's team this season, scoring once and registering 6 assists. Omotayo Adebodun now completes the story.
The defender Luke Shaw has signed a new 4-year contract to keep him at the club until June 2027. The 27-year-old will extend his stay at the Old Trafford to more than a decade after joining from Southampton in 2014. Shaw has had an excellent season under managers Eric Ten Hag, making 36 appearances in all competitions, scoring once and assisting 6 times. Shaw, who has played 249 games for Manchester United and has become a regular fixture again, has played at the left back and centre back this season. Shaw has 29 England caps and scored 3 times, including the opening goal in the Euro 2020 finals against Italy. In the meantime, defending champion Rafael Nadal remains in doubt for the French Open after pulling out of next week Monte Carlo Masters with an ongoing hip injury. The Spanish world number 14 has won the tournament in Monaco 11 times but is not fit to return to action. The 36-year-old has not played since a straight-set second-round defeat by American Mackenzie McDonald at the Australian Open in January. Rafael Nadal had expected to be out for 6 to 8 weeks after an MRI scan following his Melbourne loss showed a tear in his left muscle. Meanwhile, former Wimbledon champion Gabin Muguruza says she will take an extended break from tennis until the summer. The Spanish former world number 1 has only played 4 times this year, not appearing at all since January. The 29-year-old, who has dropped to 132nd in the world, said she will miss the clay and grass court season. She reached the top of the ranking in 2017 and was third at the end of 2021, but did not pass the quarterfinals of a tournament last year. Omotayo Adebodun reporting for Osbc News.
Over now to Aisha Mustafa for her foreign stories.
And Kenya Space Agency said in a joint statement that the mission is an important milestone, adding that it will contribute significantly to the country's budding space economy. The statement also stated that the observation satellite is fully designed and developed by Kenya engineers and will be used to provide data on agriculture, food security, among others. That has gutted thousands of shops at a popular clothing market in the Bangladesh capital, Dhaka, with shop owner devastated by the loss weeks before Eid, the Muslim festival marking the end of Ramadan. Hundreds of firefighters and army personnel battled the inferno as it tore through the clothing market, turning it into a pile of ashes. The blaze was brought under control after more than 6 hours. Aisha Mustafa, Osbc News.
To end the major reports tonight, here are the major highlights. President Muhammadu Buhari has urged the Senate to consider and approve the Nigerian Data Protection Bill to provide a legal framework for the protection and personal information. A former presidential aspirant of the All Progressives Congress APC, Nicholas Felix, has disclosed that the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu will appoint only talented people into his cabinet. And on the foreign scene, Defense Ministry and Kenya Space Ministry, in collaboration with Bulgarian Airspace, has promised to develop data culture and food security in the development in the living standard of the people. And that ends the major report on OSBC TV this evening. It was edited by Michael Adeniyi. My name is David Ojo. Thanks for watching and good night.